Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Tex once again, Open Source Program Manager for Intersect's Open Source Office. Today I'm joined by Sam Leathers with IO. Sam, how about you tell us some more about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sam Leathers. I'm head of product for IO engineering. I've been with IO since 2018, so I've been around for a long time through the Chang Hard Fork and all the ones since then. And the big thing I've been working on for this last year is basically the delivery of governance for Cardano. So we started about a year ago launching SanchoNet, and we've been delivering new features there every 2 to 4, 6 weeks occasionally, basically, with releases as we've rolled out the features for the full on-chain governance for the next hard fork.
Thank you. Thank you. So for those that don't know, what we're going to talk about today is actually going to be Cardano Node, one of the core competencies or core products inside the Cardano blockchain here. And so, Sam, help everyone maybe learn a little bit more if they are unaware or catch us up. Provide us an overview of Cardano Node and its main mission, or rather purpose, within the Cardano ecosystem.
Yeah, so the node is made up of the ledger, the consensus, the network, and then basically the API that goes to the CLI and the node binary itself. So what these nodes do is they basically run the Cardano network. So they have all the rules on the blockchain that basically allow you to, from your wallet, delegate to a pool and get rewards, basically. And you see these nodes in stake pools, for instance, where the blocks are being made, and then people are using these nodes as edge nodes for things like wallets, dApps, DEXs, everything. So pretty much anything related to Cardano in some way, whether you know it or not, you're interfacing with the node.
Good stuff. Now, I know we just had a release 9.1.0. Is that right?
That is correct. This is the final release for the mainnet hard fork. We'll have more releases coming along, but this is the first one that can cross the hard fork boundary. So there are no breaking changes between now and the 10.0 release when we have the next hard fork finalizing the governance phase.
Well, that's definitely some great news. Can you talk maybe about some of the features, unique features that enhance data reliability and security more specifically?
Enhancing data reliability and security. We do have some improvements with the consensus VRF. But I mean, most of what this particular release has been all about is governance. It's been feature-based, not really improving the security and reliability. We're still depending on the Preos consensus. Now, looking forward, we have a paper written called Laos that will bring scalability, reliability, basically good way to put it is basically super decentralization, because right now we have a whole bunch of these SPO block producers, and they're lucky if they get a block every epoch and whatnot. Whereas with Laos, we have different levels of types of blocks, and so you might not get one of the regular blocks that goes on the chain all the time, but you might get these mini blocks that get aggregated into bigger blocks eventually, that then will bring that scalability, so you can carry so many more transactions. It'll bring decentralization, because if you're a smaller SPO, you're still going to be getting incremental rewards even on your small stake. So there's a whole lot of benefits coming with that, but that's not even in development yet. It's basically just getting started. So yeah, we do have a huge focus on things like that, but that has not been the focus of this last year. It's been all about governance, how we can decide as a community on where we want to put our money from the treasury, how we want to set the protocol parameters, who we want in specific governance roles like the Constitution Committee, what our Constitution is, what our principles and values are, things like that. So we've basically built all the tech for handling all that stuff. So now we can hand that off to the community, they can run with it, and we can start looking at the next big thing, which probably will be scalability.
Now, I don't know if there's anything else to narrow down on. The next question deals with like a primary use case for Node, and I think you covered that here as far as prepping for the hard fork and this governance piece that is that residual here in the background. But for any of those SPOs, is there anything else that you would want to delve into as to how this node release is super primary, super important?
Yeah, it's very important because SPOs are actually going to have to participate in the governance system. They're one of the three, quote, branches of government. We have the Constitution Committee, the SPOs, and the DREPs. And the SPOs are involved in security parameters that basically we want to have a little bit more control over, where people that have nodes at stake are actually participating in some of these decisions of things. And then they're also a huge part with hard forks, which they have been forever. Before, they just had to upgrade their node and that's it, which they get to do one last time with this one. But when future hard forks, SPOs are actually going to have to cast a transaction on chain to basically say, hey, I approve this hard fork, so it forks into the next era. So SPOs are absolutely going to need to pay attention to a lot of these features, play around and preview now, which has just forked, and as well as SanchoNet, where we have the full governance at protocol v10 running.
Nice, nice. Maybe we could do just this feels more like a slight history here, but are there any success stories that have come out of 9.1.0 right now, or any notable, I guess, success stories that have utilized the previous node releases?
I mean, it's the whole network. That's the problem with that kind of question.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, I mean, there's success stories of dApps and DEXs launching with Alonzo. There's success stories of SPOs building businesses around the Preos release back in 2020. There's success stories of people building wallets, and I mean, you look at a lot of the community tooling that has been written to work with the system. But the Node is unique from a lot of the projects you're going to interview because it's the central backbone of the network. So basically, you can think of it kind of like a telco company. No one really cares much about how their phone wires are wired across the entire world, as long as they can pick up a phone and call someone. And basically what we're doing is we're building all the infrastructure that allows them to pick up a phone and call someone behind the scenes. So you have things like scalability with what I talked about with layoffs coming and whatnot, where those things are important. But most people don't care as long as the system just continues to work.
Well, definitely a great reference there for everyone to understand, right? We just want it to all work. That's how we function nowadays, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the system's working, it's performant, and people are happy, then the system works. And it's never going to get a whole lot of praise and value, praise and celebration from people in the community, because, hey, it's just the system we're building on. It's not that important, but it really is very important, because all those other use cases you talk to, all those other people you interview, if it weren't for the node, they wouldn't exist.
Now, I know there's a lot of talk on the governance. You said this was the final release before the hard fork. What does this
Yep.
mean for the future in terms of Node? I mean, is there opportunity for additional new features? Where does that fit within the development
Yeah.
cycle?
So going forward for the next hard fork, so we have this one split into two pieces, and the second piece is like 99.999% done. It just has a few trailing things that we don't have quite completed yet. So the first one basically enables what's called the bootstrap phase, and what that does is it allows the Constitution Committee to basically take over control from the previous update system on the network. So basically they can handle protocol parameter updates and executing hard forks, essentially. So what happens then is, in 3 months time or so, we have that second hard fork, and that's 10.0. And what that does is it turns on the governance features. So in the bootstrap phase, people can register as DREPs and start preparing. They can practice by voting on info actions, but they can't do much else. But as soon as we fork into 10, then they basically have all the responsibility for voting on things at that point. So what we're doing right now is finishing up that 0.001% of things that need to be done to get from 9 to 10, as well as doing a lot of performance enhancements, tackling tech debt. We're working on the UTXO HD stuff, which allow you to basically take a chunk of what the node's running in memory and put it on disk, so you don't have to have as expensive instances running the node. Things of that nature is what we're focusing on now. So we're kind of in a maintenance phase, probably for the next, well, definitely for the next 3 months. I would probably say for the next 6 months or so, getting things ready for what we decide the next hard fork is going to be, as well as planning out even further in the future what kind of hard forks we're going to have in the future. So for example, the next hard fork is probably not going to be layoffs, because there's just not enough time to get that done unless we decided we are going to wait multiple years for the next hard fork. So we need to figure out what kind of stuff we want to put in that as we go, while at the same time we need to start working towards developing layoffs so we can get layoffs at some point. So there's kind of a little bit of a balance there in that regard.
Absolutely. Well, it seems like the community is probably on the same track as we are in terms of begging for the hard fork to take place. So what are some ways for everyone to get involved here? What do we need from them?
Okay, so we're on preview now. So SPO testnets on Discord is where a lot of the communication is going along with people. That's on the IOG Discord for the moment. At some point, we probably will be moving a lot of that communication over to the Intersect Discord, but we've been pretty busy developing this to take the time to make those changes. So if you want to get involved right now and test things and give feedback, SPO testnets on Discord is the best place. You can also give feedback as if you're talking about the new Conway features in particular, we have a number of SanchoNet channels on the same Discord. So we have ones for builders, wallets. There's a general channel where announcements are going. That's primarily geared to the SanchoNet test network. But if it's a question related to something on preview related to the governance, we can handle that there. Going forward, we definitely need to take a good step back and figure out what our communication channels should be and get them all within Intersect so people can all find them and whatnot, rather than having multiple different Discords. People have to go for this and then go there for that type thing.
Wonderful. Now, I guess the last few things I would tack on top of that here would be, this is a great time to get in touch, or at least be aware of who the D-reps are, who the SPOs are, and getting that Intersect membership, right?
Yep, absolutely. And one thing I would add, for anyone going to Rare Evo, I have actual Haskell engineers from my team building the node that are basically doing what we're calling a masterclass. There's a sign-up sheet basically for it, and we have a room for 2 days where we're going to start out just with a little bit of fundamentals, but fairly quickly into it, we're going to actually whiteboard up some ideas of what we can build using the Haskell API of the node, what kind of cool features we can create and whatnot. So for example, we created a faucet using it about a year ago. That's what pretty much everyone's using right now to get funds on testnets. You could have command line wallets. You could do a number of different things using the API. And it's kind of going to be a brainstorming session of like, hey, what do we want to build? And then knowing that you have expert Haskell engineers that know how to do this stuff in the room, how can we help you build that here? So everyone's going to get out their laptops and we're actually going to build in real time some cool tools, and then we'll showcase them after Rare Evo. So if you want, come see me in Rare Evo and come learn you some Haskell, and we'll get started.
Well, I will definitely say thank you on behalf of the developers, whether they want to say it or not, for giving us that golden ticket here at the end. But yes, Rare Evo coming up here in a couple of weeks. Definitely get in touch with Intersect, get your membership set up. If you're not already a member, it's still $10. Go ahead and get that individual founding member here. And if you're an enterprise, we have the opportunity for you to sign on your organization, and that's going to be releasing here within about a month and a half, if not sooner. So definitely thanks so much for following along here on the open source channel. Sam, I'll give you one last shot. Anything else to add in before we close it out?
Yeah, so one last thing I'd like to mention is that we're trying to bring in more maintainership from the community of some of these pieces in the node. So if you have some basic Haskell experience, and again, that masterclass I'm doing is a good place to kind of get started with that, but please reach out to me, and we'll see if we can find some things within the node you can help maintain, and get you involved at the technical working groups, and we'll go from there.
That's a great call out. Thanks so much, Sam. Well, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. Let us know how this was for you and what else we can tell you about maybe some of our other core projects as well. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Tex. Really appreciate it.